The ever-present threat of terrorism is, sadly these days, a harsh reality for all of us. Imagine, if you will, the possibility of a terrorist on the loose setting off a series of bombs, each just a week apart. Well, it happened last summer in the West Midlands. The explosions were timed to hit worshippers attending Friday prayers in mosques, and it was clear the bomber wouldn't stop until he was caught. But with a population of over 5.5 million, how do police track down a lone wolf?
It's a real nightmare scenario. We just didn't know who was behind this. We just had to find that bomber before the next bomb went off.
At 1 p.m. on the 12th of July last year, a bomb packed with nails exploded at this mosque here in Tipton. It was a Friday when mosques are at their busiest, and it was the third such bombing in a matter of weeks. If that pattern continued, the counter-terrorism teams had just 7 days before the next attack. With over 200 mosques as potential targets, their task was huge. The 3 bombs had all been detonated in the West Midlands. The first in Walsall, followed by Wolverhampton, and now Tipton. It was only good fortune no one had yet been killed.
We knew that the next bomb was a real high risk to life, so it was imperative for us to catch the person or the people that were responsible for it.
With over 200 mosques in the region as possible targets, detectives had to work fast. They began by examining CCTV from the first bombing in Walsall.
We really had to find the person quickly. We need to get that crucial image of our bomber. What we're looking at there is CCTV around the Walsall Mosque of anyone carrying an object into and then coming out of the mosque without an object. We didn't know whether the person put the bomb there an hour before, or 3 days, or 4 days before.
That must have been an enormous amount.
There's thousands of hours worth of CCTV.
After following dozens of potential suspects on CCTV, the trawl finally revealed one man whose suspicious actions stood out. The white man in dark clothing was seen carrying a bag outside the mosque just before the explosion.
The key then was to follow that person on a number of CCTV cameras, just trying to find that clue to who that person was, where they lived, so we could identify and arrest them as quickly as possible.
As well as the CCTV images of the suspect, detectives had one other significant lead. The remnants of one of these, a child's lunchbox, used to conceal the first bomb. Having now pinpointed the main suspect, next they needed to trace his journey to the mosque. After following his route in reverse on dozens of cameras, they finally got a clear image of his face, and he was carrying a green Asda bag. Detectives were convinced the lunchbox containing the bomb was inside that bag.
We went to the local house in a small heap with the Asda bag and found out when they sold those bags during that day. We found the CCTV for each of those transactions. At that point then we found our bomber had bought the green Asda bag, but crucially had also bought child lunchbox. That child's lunchbox contained the bomb.
And crucially, you could see his face this time.
Absolutely, that was a real crucial moment. We had 2 clear images, one from the bus, one from Asda, of our bomber's face. What we had to do then was put a name to the face and arrest him as quickly as possible, certainly before the next Friday.
Those images were immediately given to police officers on the ground, but with Friday prayers fast approaching, it seemed as if the man was simply a ghost.
Okay, on Albert Street.
The absolute pressure on us there is to put a name to the bomber and actually arrest him. Let's get him off the streets before any more bombs are set. We did that by putting those images through to the media, and we thought then we'd get lots of phone calls saying this is his name. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. Understandably, the community were concerned. mosques were concerned about their congregations, and it was absolutely imperative that we found this person before filing through it. We knew there was a high risk of another bomb being planted.
It appeared the bomber was an expert at keeping a low profile. The press appeal didn't lead to a single phone call.
We then went to tried and tested police work, both detectives and local neighbourhood officers armed with these images of the bomber in the Small Heath area. We knew he shopped at Asda, we thought he lived close by, so then we visited every business, offices, shops in that area.
With just a day to spare, the old-fashioned detective work paid off.
Two neighbourhood sergeants, armed with the photographs, went to a small industrial estate and showed the photographs. A person there recognised him as a foreign student that was working within their offices.
We need to speak to him right now.
And there was Pavlo Lapshyn, there was our bomber, and he was arrested.
I'm arresting you on suspicion of causing explosion. No.
We knew that the person we'd been searching on CCTV for so long was finally in custody. We still had more work to do. We didn't know whether he was working alone or with other people, but we knew that person we painstakingly found on CCTV. We knew we'd finally got him.
24-year-old Lapshyn was a student from the Ukraine who'd come to Britain to study at Coventry University and got work experience at a local engineering company. He'd been in the country for 90 days, but was staying in a flat on the industrial estate and hadn't socialised with anyone.
And when you interviewed him, I mean, what was he like?
You almost seemed proud of what he'd done, and he talked about he wanted to start a race war, he wanted to have a wave of terrorism by planting these bombs.
Officers weren't convinced these were Lapshyn's only crimes. He was a self-confessed racist targeting Muslim site, and their attention quickly turned to the unsolved murder of an elderly Muslim man just a few months earlier.
Almost a month ago.
In May last year, Crimewatch featured an appeal to catch the killer of 82-year-old Mohammed Saleem. The grandfather had been stabbed to death while walking home from his regular evening prayers in Birmingham. Grainy CCTV showed a white man running away from the scene. Although at the time of the murder he'd only been in the country a matter of days, detectives suspected Lapshyn could have been responsible for Mohammed's death.
And what did he say at that stage when you asked him about that murder?
Once he was arrested for the murder, again, he admitted it straight away.
Убийство было совершено по мотивам расовым.
Murder was committed on the basis of racial hatred.
He said he took a knife out with him. He wandered around an area looking for opportunity to kill a non-white person, as he called him. He walked past a mosque, expecting Muslim people to be at the mosque. And Mr. Saleem was leaving the mosque, walking home, and tragically his path crossed Pavlo Lapshyn, who had a murderous intent, who took that opportunity and killed him.
Mohammed Saleem's family will never come to terms with Pavlo Lapshyn's random, murderous act.
This man, Pavlo, came into the country. He'd been here, 3 days before he struck and he killed my father. So he came with the intent of killing a Muslim man, and he hit my father. And Pavlo is a strapping young man, and my dad was 82 years old, could never ever defended himself, and to kill him the way that he did, and my dad suffered the way that he did when he died. It's just unforgivable, and the impact that it's had on the family and the grandchildren.
Mohammed Saleem was Pavlo Lapshyn's only victim, but he had intended for his campaign of terror to last much longer.
In his room we found other bombs ready to go. We knew he would have carried on if he'd not been stopped. I think he's an extremely evil but misguided individual. He's influenced by right-wing ideology. He came to Birmingham, killed a defenceless elderly gentleman, and caused real fear and concern amongst the whole community with his bombing campaign, and rightfully he's behind bars.
All that horror and havoc, and we've only been in the country, 2 months?
Yeah, this was a man who boasted he wants to start a race war. It was only because he got the time wrong for Friday prayers that no one was killed in that nail bomb in Tipton. And we saw the bomb factory in his flat. This was just the start. He also wanted to taunt police about who killed Mohammed Saleem. He'd written anonymous notes which he planned to send.
And definitely acting alone?
Yes, they went to Ukraine, they analysed his phones, his computers to see if he was part of a cell or a right-wing group. He was a loner, but the computers were packed with white supremacist material driving his hate. There was also this video of him testing one of his early bombs. It's worth seeing.
I mean, that is really shocking foresight. What about sentencing?
He got life with a minimum of 40 years. The judge said that his views were abhorrent to all right-thinking people. Mohammed Saleem's daughter said the family just simply couldn't move on. She said the murder had disabled their minds in every emotional way possible. Really heartbreaking.
Thanks, Matthew. Just time now for a quick update.